Life was never designed to be easy. Every obstacle, every challenge, every setback, these are not walls meant to stop you, but weights meant to strengthen you. Yet too often we fall into the trap of wishing life would remove its difficulties, hoping the road would be smoother, the storms a little lighter. But here lies the truth. The world will never get easier. It is you who must grow stronger. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. This is not just a quote. It is a mindset. It is a call to rise above excuses, to stop waiting for life to soften its blows, and to start sharpening your own edge. Imagine if instead of complaining about the mountain, you trained your legs to climb it. Imagine if instead of asking for fewer problems, you built the wisdom, skill, and resilience to solve them. Greatness has never been given to those who demand comfort. It has always belonged to those who embrace challenge and transform themselves in the process. Today, this message is not just advice. It is a challenge for you. Stop wishing for less and start becoming more. Life is not supposed to be easy. That may come as a surprise to some, because we all secretly hope that the road will somehow become smoother, that the burdens will somehow become lighter. But if you really take a close look at life, you'll notice something. The struggle is not a punishment. It is the path. The very thing you resist is the very thing that shapes you. Think about it. A farmer doesn't pray for less weeds. He learns how to cultivate better soil, how to protect his crops. An athlete doesn't pray for a smaller hill. He trains his legs to run up mountains. And you and I, we cannot sit around wishing life would remove the storms, because storms will always come. The real question is, who are you becoming while you're in them? Hardship is not the enemy. Hardship is the sculptor. It's what chisels away at your weakness and exposes your strength. When life hands you difficulty, it's as if it's saying, here's a chance to discover how strong you can really be. And the truth is, if everything were easy, you would never grow. Muscles don't grow when you sit in comfort. Muscles grow under resistance. Your character, your resilience, your wisdom, they grow the same way. It's tempting to wish for an easier life. But here's the problem with that. If life got easier, you would get weaker. If the load was always light, you would never build strength. If the test was always simple, you would never gain wisdom. And if every door opened without effort, you would never learn persistence. Easy breeds complacency. Easy makes you soft. Easy robs you of the very qualities that make life worthwhile. So instead of wishing for less challenge, ask yourself, how can I become more capable? Instead of asking, why is this so hard? Ask, what new strength can I develop here? That's the shift that changes everything. Because life doesn't reward those who hope for comfort. It rewards those who prepare for challenge. And make no mistake, everyone faces difficulties. The successful are not people who had an easier road. They are people who chose to become stronger travelers. They faced storms, but they built bigger sails. They had obstacles, but they sharpened better tools. They had setbacks, but they learned comebacks. That's the real difference. The day you stop seeing struggle as punishment and start seeing it as preparation, everything changes. The difficulties you face are not there to destroy you. They are there to shape you, to stretch you, to prepare you for the next level. Each challenge is a lesson in disguise. Each hardship is a training ground for greatness. Now, here's the part that most people miss. Your growth is optional. Struggles will come whether you want them or not. But whether you rise to the occasion, whether you build new strength, whether you allow the hardship to sharpen you, that choice is yours. Some people come out of difficulty bitter. Others come out better. Some people see the same storm as the end. Others see it as the beginning. The difference is in how you choose to respond. So don't sit around waiting for life to become easier. Don't waste your energy wishing the road was smoother. Put that energy into becoming better, wiser, stronger. Because when you get better, life gets easier. Not because the problems shrink, but because you grow. A problem that seemed impossible 5 years ago might look small today. Not because the problem changed, but because you did. That's the magic of growth. And here's the truth. Life doesn't give you what you wish for. It gives you what you're prepared for. Struggles are not punishments. They are invitations. Invitations to rise, to step up, to grow into the kind of person who can handle more, do more, and become more. If you accept that invitation, you'll discover strength you didn't know you had. So the next time you're tempted to complain about how hard it is, stop and remind yourself. This is the path. This is the weight that builds the muscle. This is the fire that purifies the gold. Don't resist it. Don't resent it. Learn from it. Grow from it. Become through it. Because the goal is not for life to get easier. The goal is for you to get better. And when you get better, everything changes. Key power of responsibility. That's one of the greatest lessons life can ever teach you. See, most people spend their lives blaming something outside of themselves. The economy, the government, their parents, their boss, the weather, always something out there. And while those things might be true, while those conditions might be real, here's the secret. As long as you blame, you give away your power. Responsibility is not about fault. Responsibility is about ownership. You may not have caused everything that happens to you, but you are always responsible for how you respond. And that response, my friend, is where your future is created. It's easy to point the finger. It's easy to say, I'd be successful if the market was different. I'd be happy if my childhood was better. I'd be motivated if my boss treated me differently. But if you live with that mindset, you hand the steering wheel of your life to somebody else. You're saying, I'm not in control here. They are. And that's a dangerous way to live. The truth is, life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. And the first change has to come from you. The day you stop blaming is the day you start building. The day you stop excusing is the day you start improving. The day you say, it's on me, is the day your life begins to move forward. Taking ownership doesn't mean you have to like the situation. It doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It simply means you refuse to let it define you or confine you. You refuse to hand over your destiny to circumstances. You take it back into your own hands. That's what responsibility really is. The decision to say, I may not control everything that happens, but I control what I do next. Think about this. The people who succeed are not the ones with perfect conditions. They're the ones who learn to take responsibility, regardless of conditions. Some people grew up with nothing, but they said, it's my job to change the story. Some people lost everything in a setback, but they said, it's my responsibility to rebuild. Some people were doubted, overlooked, underestimated, but they said, it's on me to prove what's possible. That's power. Blame keeps you stuck. Responsibility moves you forward. Blame makes you a victim. Responsibility makes you the author. When you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you, you realize you were the rescuer all along. And here's the greatest truth of all. Responsibility equals power. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, you unlock the power to change it. If it's always someone else's fault, then you're powerless. But if it's on you, then you can fix it. You can improve it. You can transform it. Now, does that mean it will be easy? No, but it does mean it will be possible. And possible is always better than powerless. Possible means there's hope. There's choice. There's action you can take. Powerless means you're stuck waiting, hoping the world changes before you do. And I promise you this, the world doesn't change until you do. So here's the challenge. Stop saying, I can't because of them. Start saying, I can because of me. Stop saying, if only conditions were better. Start saying, I'll become better, no matter the conditions. Stop saying, it's their fault. Start asking, what can I do about it? That shift right there is the beginning of growth. Because when you own your life, you own your results. And when you own your results, you own your future. Responsibility is not a burden. It's a gift. It gives you back control. It puts you back in the driver's seat. It reminds you that no matter what happens around you, the most important factor is still you. So stop blaming external conditions. Take ownership of your situation. Remember, responsibility equals power. And the moment you embrace that truth, you stop being at the mercy of the world. And you start becoming the master of your life. Growth comes from challenge. That's how life was designed. If you look closely at nature, you'll see this law everywhere. A tree that grows in perfect weather, with no wind, no storm, no resistance, will grow tall but weak. The first strong wind can snap it in half. But a tree that battles the wind, that bends under storms, develops deep roots and strong branches. The struggle makes it stronger. It's the same with us. Muscles don't grow by comfort. They grow by resistance. You go to the gym, you pick up a weight, and at first it feels heavy. You struggle, you sweat, and if you stop too soon, nothing changes. But if you keep pushing against that resistance, something magical happens. Your muscles adapt. They tear, they repair, they grow back stronger. The resistance is not the enemy. The resistance is the reason for the growth. Now, muscles are just an example. The same rule applies to your skills. Skills grow by effort. Nobody becomes excellent by accident. You don't get better at speaking by staying silent. You don't get better at selling by avoiding customers. You don't get better at leading by hiding in the background. Every skill you admire in others was earned through effort, through practice, through failing and trying again. Effort is the training ground of mastery. And then there's wisdom. Wisdom grows by reflection. See, life gives all of us experiences. Some people go through those experiences and learn nothing. Others stop, reflect, and grow wiser. Reflection is what turns pain into lessons. Reflection is what turns mistakes into strategies. Reflection is what turns experiences into wisdom. If you only go through life, you might miss the lessons. But if you reflect on life, you gain the wisdom. So here's the truth. Growth never comes without a challenge. You want to be stronger? You need resistance. You want to be more skillful? You need effort. You want to be wiser? You need reflection. That's the law. That's how progress happens. The problem is, most people run from challenge. They want the rewards of growth without the struggle that produces it. They want strength without resistance, skill without effort, wisdom without reflection. But it doesn't work that way. You can't trick the process. You can't grow without being tested. Think about the people you admire most. The leaders, the innovators, the visionaries. They didn't get there because life was easy for them. They got there because they met challenges that forced them to grow. Every setback pushed them to develop resilience. Every failure taught them lessons they couldn't have learned otherwise. Every difficulty became a stepping stone to greatness. So the next time you face a challenge, don't just ask, why me? Ask, what is this building in me? Because it's building something. The weight you carry today is strengthening you for tomorrow. The effort you put in today is shaping skills that will serve you for years. The reflection you take today is depositing wisdom that will guide your decisions for the rest of your life. And let me remind you, growth is never instant. Just like lifting weights. You don't see results on day 1. You don't see results on day 2. But if you keep showing up, if you keep putting in the effort, if you keep reflecting and adjusting, one day you'll look back and realize you've grown into someone you once only dreamed of being. So, embrace the challenge. Welcome the resistance. Don't curse the effort. Value it. Don't avoid reflection. Practice it. Because growth doesn't happen by wishing. Growth happens by facing, by pushing, by learning. And here's the beauty when you embrace challenge as the pathway to growth. You stop fearing it. You stop running from it. Instead, you start using it. You let resistance build your strength. You let effort sharpen your skills. You let reflection deepen your wisdom. And when you do that, there's no limit to who you can become. Skill over circumstance. That's one of the great truths of success. Too many people sit around hoping life will hand them smaller problems. They say, if only things weren't so difficult. If only the challenges weren't so big, then I'd do better. But the real secret is this. Don't wish for smaller problems, build bigger skills. Because problems don't shrink. You have to grow. Think of it like this. The same math problem that looks impossible to a child is simple to an engineer. Did the problem change? No. The skill level did. The problem didn't get easier. The person got better. That's the way life works. The same obstacle that feels overwhelming to you today may feel light years easier once you develop the right skill set. That's why the most valuable thing you can work on is yourself. The better you become, the easier problems feel. And it's not because life has stopped being difficult. It's because you've grown strong enough, wise enough, skilled enough to handle it. The obstacle doesn't change. You do. And when you change, everything changes. You see, life will always test you with problems equal to your level of skill. If you avoid learning, avoid improving, avoid practicing, you'll stay stuck with the same problems year after year. But if you build bigger skills, life rewards you with bigger opportunities. Now, the temptation is always to look for shortcuts, to say, how can I get the result without putting in the work? How can I win without the grind? How can I skip the process? But shortcuts rob you of mastery. And mastery is what makes the difference between someone who barely survives and someone who truly thrives. If you think about any great profession, musicians, athletes, leaders, entrepreneurs, they didn't rise by cutting corners. They rose by mastering their craft. They faced challenges most people would run from. And instead of complaining, they asked, what skill do I need to solve this? That's the mindset that separates the average from the exceptional. Imagine this. You run into a financial crisis. You can sit there and say, why did this happen to me? Or you can say, what skills can I build so this never happens again? Maybe it's financial literacy. Maybe it's sales ability. Maybe it's discipline with money. Whatever the case, the solution is not smaller problems. It's bigger skills. Same with relationships. You can blame others forever, or you can say, what communication skills, what patience, what understanding do I need to build to make this better? Life will always hand you challenges, but the outcome depends on your skill set. And here's the good news. Skills can be learned. Nobody is born with mastery. Nobody is born knowing how to lead, how to sell, how to speak, how to create, how to solve problems. Every master was once a beginner. Every expert was once clumsy. Every professional was once an amateur. What made the difference? They chose to build skills instead of complaining about circumstances. That's why investing in yourself is the highest return you'll ever get. Books, courses, mentors, practice, discipline. These are not expenses. They are investments. Every skill you add makes you more valuable, more capable, more prepared for the challenges ahead. So when life gets hard, don't say, I wish this were easier. Say, I wish to become better. When problems feel heavy, don't wish they would go away. Ask, what can I learn here? What new skill can I develop so that next time this feels light? Because that's the real path to freedom. Circumstances will always change. Markets shift. People come and go. The world evolves. But your skills stay with you. They travel with you. They protect you. They empower you. Circumstances you can't always control, but skills you can build those every single day. So remember, don't wish for smaller problems. Build bigger skills. The better you become, the easier problems feel. And focus on mastery, not shortcuts. Because when you master yourself and your craft, no circumstance has the power to stop you. Resilience is your true wealth. See, money can come and go. Status can rise and fall. Luck can show up today and vanish tomorrow. But there are certain treasures that no circumstance can ever take from you. Resilience, discipline, and courage. These are the qualities that outlast every storm, every crisis, every setback. Think about money. You can earn it, you can lose it. Entire fortunes have been built and wiped out in a single year. Status? It's fragile. One wrong move and the applause can turn into silence. And luck? That's the most unreliable of all. It might favor you today, but it never promises tomorrow. If your whole life is built on those things, then your life is built on sand. But resilience, that's different. Resilience is the ability to bend without breaking, to take a hit and get back up. Resilience means when life knocks you down, you don't stay down. You rise again, stronger and wiser. And the beautiful thing about resilience is this. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Every challenge you endure adds another layer of strength to your character. Discipline is another form of wealth. Discipline is the ability to do what you should do, even when you don't feel like it. It's the ability to stick to your principles, to follow through on your commitments, to control yourself when everything around you seems out of control. And here's the truth. Discipline pays dividends that money never can. Discipline gives you health, productivity, stability, and self-respect. Without discipline, even wealth slips away. And then there's courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. Courage is saying, I don't know how this will turn out, but I refuse to let fear decide my future. Courage means you dare to try, you dare to stand, you dare to believe when others have given up. And every time you act with courage, you expand the borders of your life. These three, resilience, discipline, courage, they cannot be stolen. They cannot be destroyed by the stock market, or by gossip, or by bad luck. They are yours, forever, if you cultivate them. That's why I call them your true wealth. Because they guarantee that no matter what happens outside, you have the resources inside to rebuild, to recover, to rise again. Let me tell you, I've met people who had nothing in their pockets but had resilience in their hearts, and they built empires. I've seen people who had all the wealth in the world but lacked discipline, and they lost it all. I've seen people who waited on luck and stayed stuck their entire lives. And I've seen others, armed only with courage, create futures nobody thought possible. So the question is, what are you investing in? Are you spending all your energy chasing things that can vanish overnight? Or are you building character, discipline, resilience, and courage? Things that will serve you for a lifetime. Because your strongest investment is not in what you own, but in who you are. Character outlasts cash. Strength outlasts status. Discipline outlasts luck. When everything external is shaken, it is your inner wealth that keeps you standing. And here's the secret. Once you build these qualities, they not only sustain you, they attract everything else back to you. Wealth follows discipline. Opportunities follow courage. Success follows resilience. So build your true wealth. Build resilience that rises every time you fall. Build discipline that keeps you steady in a world full of distractions. Build courage that pushes you into new territories when fear tells you to stay put. These qualities are not just traits, they're treasures. And the best part, nobody can take them from you. Money, status, luck. They may slip away, but resilience, discipline, and courage will stay with you forever. And in the end, your character is your strongest investment. Complaining changes nothing. You can sit in a corner, talk about how unfair life is, how difficult circumstances are, how other people got lucky and you didn't. And after all that complaining, what happens? Nothing. Not a single problem gets solved. Not a single step forward is taken. Complaints are like rocking chairs. They give you something to do, but they don't get you anywhere. Creation, on the other hand, changes everything. The moment you decide to stop complaining and start creating, your whole life takes on a new direction. Because creation is the act of saying, yes, obstacles are real, but so are solutions. Yes, problems exist. But so does my ability to build, to design, to improve, to make something better. That shift from being a complainer to being a creator is one of the most powerful transformations a person can experience. Think about it. The world has never been improved by complainers. History doesn't remember the ones who sat on the sidelines and said, it can't be done. The world remembers the ones who said, let's figure it out. Every innovation, every breakthrough, every improvement we enjoy today came from someone who stopped complaining about how things were and started creating how things could be. When you complain, you give your power away. You say, the problem is bigger than me. I am helpless. But when you create, you take that power back. You say, the problem is big, yes, but so am I. Let me build something that makes a difference. That mindset changes everything. It's easy to wish away obstacles. It's easy to say, if only this challenge didn't exist. If only I didn't have to deal with this. But wishing doesn't move you forward. Wishing doesn't pay the bills. Wishing doesn't solve the problem. Building does. Acting does. Creating does. Let's take an example. Two people lose their job. One spends weeks complaining about how unfair the system is, how bad the company was, how cruel life is. The other says, all right, this is tough, but let me build a new skill. Let me start a side business. Let me create a new path. One stays stuck, the other creates momentum. Same circumstance, different response. Now let me be clear, venting your feelings, expressing frustration, that's human. But staying there, living in complaint mode, that's dangerous. Because while you complain, time is moving, opportunities are passing, and nothing gets better. But the moment you switch gears and ask, what can I do about it? You move from powerless to powerful. Here's the truth. The world doesn't reward complaints. It rewards solutions. The marketplace doesn't pay you for pointing out what's wrong. It pays you for creating something that makes it right. People don't admire those who dwell on problems. They admire those who bring ideas, who bring solutions, who bring creativity. So stop wishing for a life without obstacles. Start building the strength, the ideas, the solutions that turn obstacles into stepping stones. Stop focusing on what's missing and start focusing on what you can make, because that's where progress is born. Creation doesn't mean you need to invent the next big thing. Sometimes creation simply means you take responsibility for your own life. You create better habits. You create better routines. You create a better attitude. You create opportunities by knocking on doors. You create solutions by trying new approaches. Creation doesn't always mean changing the world, but it does mean changing yourself, and that's where the world begins to change. So remember this: complaints change nothing. Creation changes everything. Don't waste your energy describing the problem over and over. Use that energy to design the solution. Stop wishing away obstacles and start building your way through them. That's the difference between those who drift through life and those who shape it. Success is not one giant leap. It's not one big lucky break. It's not one moment of magic where everything suddenly changes. Success is built one small step at a time, one daily choice at a time, one act of discipline at a time. People often think it's about some huge breakthrough, but more often it's about the little things done consistently that create the big results. Think of it this way: a tree doesn't grow overnight. It grows little by little, day after day, season after season. You don't see the progress each morning, but give it a few years, and suddenly it towers above you. That's what daily improvement does in your life. One small decision repeated over time compounds into greatness. If you're willing to get just 1% better each day, that doesn't sound like much, right? Just 1%. But here's the magic over time. 1% compounds. After a year, after 2 years, after 5 years, you look back and realize you've built a whole new life. It wasn't overnight. It was daily, steady, consistent effort. And here's the secret. Daily improvement doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. You don't need to be the best in the world today. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. That's the game. That's the mindset. Every day, ask yourself, what can I improve today? What can I learn? What can I practice? What habit can I strengthen? Those little adjustments stacked together turn ordinary people into extraordinary ones. The danger is in waiting for the big leap. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for luck. That waiting is what kills dreams. Because the big leap never comes unless you've built the foundation through daily effort. Don't wish for things to change. Start changing yourself. Don't wish for luck. Start building skill. Don't wish for the opportunity. Prepare daily so when it comes, you're ready. Think of athletes. Champions aren't made on the day of the competition. They're made in the months and years of daily practice. Every morning run, every evening workout, every disciplined meal, that's where greatness is built. The championship is just the evidence of what's been happening daily behind the scenes. Your life works the same way. And here's another truth. Daily improvement builds confidence. When you keep promises to yourself, when you show up consistently, when you take action day after day, you begin to trust yourself. You don't just hope you'll be better, you know you're becoming better. That confidence becomes fuel for even bigger progress. So don't wait for the perfect day to start. Don't wait for motivation to magically appear. Choose today. Choose to be better. Daily. Success is not a wish. It's a decision followed by action, repeated with discipline. You don't become great by accident. You become great by design. Every day is a chance. Every day is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to improve, to move forward. The question is, will you take it? Will you do the small things today that compound into something extraordinary tomorrow? Or will you keep wishing, hoping, and waiting for something outside of you to change? The choice is yours. Don't wish, do. Become. Every day, choose the path of improvement, even if it's small. Because small improvements, over time, create massive results. That's how you go from ordinary to extraordinary. That's how you build a life you're proud of. Not by wishing it were easier, but by choosing to be better. Daily,